You are listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Megan, and we're two boss babes sharing our journey and inspiring you along the way.
And today we are talking about business burnout and off season because we like to talk about things that is happening live for us and hopefully inspiring you guys to know that you're not alone in this crazy entrepreneur journey. Mm-hmm. And we all go through the same things. And what kind of inspired this topic is I have been talking to a lot of my vendor entrepreneur friends, and I'm just hearing a lot of the same conversations around burnout and off season and how challenging it is. And we live in Connecticut, so our off season is colder weather, winter, because our events love to be outside. And so for us, we are coming into just a different season. Yeah. And I think Megan and I both have gone through this a few years now, so we kind of have an understanding of, at least I'll speak to myself, is it's okay to have an off season. And when it first happened, like my first year in business, I did not think that was okay, because as we always talk about, I'm one of those people who has to be doing something at all times. I have to keep myself busy. I do not like being not busy, or just even like thinking that I'm not busy. I think that's what it comes down to. So an off season for me was really challenging because I felt like I was like failing my business or failing my family because I'm not bringing money in or whatever it may be. And so I have a positive experience now because I had 3 years of off season, and this one I feel like, because I had such a challenging off season last year where I like fully spiraled. Like I literally was waking up, full transparency, being like 4 a.m. How am I paying my bills? Like, oh my God, what is happening? Because I did not set myself up for a good off season. And I think last year, I don't know what it was. It was like a shift in the mobile bar industry where people weren't booking as far out. So where we were a year out of booking events, it went to like 4 to 6 months out. So I was just hitting this like crazy spiral of not getting those deposits that come in, during the off season because it wasn't the booking window. And I ended up filling my year and being amazing. And I'm so grateful for all of it. But it taught me this year to set myself up better for off season. So I'm in a much better place, but it took a while for me to understand that. And I want people to understand that that's what happens in this journey. Yeah. The highs and lows and the ups and downs. Yeah. And
when you say set yourself up for the off season, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Do you mean like putting money aside or just specifically?
Yeah, 100%. I had no savings last year. So the off season for me, and this is my full business. Like this is my income. Yeah. This is what pays the bills, this job for me. And, I'm grateful that my husband has a job too, and he brings money in. But, we have a family of 4. Yep. We have a lot of expenses to pay for. And so I did not have a savings. And I, tapped into it to pay the bills when money wasn't coming in, the small savings I did have last year. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Kind of feeling. Yeah. And when you're low on finances, everything else spirals from there because it's just so nerve-wracking because you're literally like, how am I going to survive? Yeah. So I think for that, it was fully financial for me. And I think what mindset that put me into for this year was, I'm not going to be in that hole. I'm not going to do that. But also last year, I felt like I had to do all these little jobs outside of my business that would like fill the gaps of like the off season. And by hiring a coach this year, I was trained and coached on ways that I can still make money within my core business. So we tapped into the corporate market a little bit more and to try to get some of those, like I have a huge corporate event next week and I'm so excited about it. I really don't book much in November. November typically is like when I would do the holiday minis and things like that. But I have, I think, 3 corporate events this month.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like I found ways last year to set myself up this year. And I think it was just like a mindset shift of like, I don't need to do all these odds and end jobs. Like I was going to do craft fairs, which I do love doing, but I just don't have the time to make the crafts. So I don't know who the heck I was thinking I was. But so I think it's financially, to answer your question, long-winded. I set myself up financially for this year, which I still could be in a better place, but I do feel more confident this year. And I set myself up business-wise that I have more events on the books towards the end of the year, getting into the beginning of the year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So the corporate events are exciting. November is always like the start of the end for me of busy season. I usually only have a couple of engagement sessions, maybe like one wedding, but this year I have 3. I'm getting on the phone with another girl this weekend, I think, about a wedding in December. That's like a month away. So, it's crazy. I've heard the same kind of trend with my other photographer friends that their season is going later this year too. So I feel like some of it definitely is like smarts and setting yourself up for success, but I also feel like this year everybody is kind of lucky. Like I feel like the season just is a little bit later just in general this year, and I don't know why that is. And it's so hard with the wedding industry because there are things that are consistent, but like every year it's like a brand new market of couples. So like what we're experiencing this year with like this later, at least wedding season for me with the corporate events, I know that that's like a totally different market, but like next year I might not have any weddings in November and it might just turn out that way. So I think some of it is luck, unfortunately, but I'm with you that dipping into other markets, like I had 2 or 3 family sessions, which I don't really do, but like I will make an exception for like a family that I know, or like I know that I'm going to produce the photos that they want, versus just like, you know, somebody finding me on Facebook or something. Like I don't know them, they don't really know me, but if it's like a friend of a friend and they know, like I know that they're gonna like my work, then I'll get into it. And so like I did that this year too. So same kind of trend that you're explaining, that like dipping into other markets, you know, not because you have to, you know, but because you have to. So
yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
And I think it's okay to, like, when I say I was like trying other things, I was still doing like I was doing coaching for mobile bars, and I was doing like social media Zoom trainings and stuff like that.
Right,
where,
I
like,
forgot about that.
It was still filling my cup up, which I do think that I want. So now I'm looking to get more onto the social media side, because I did realize that I do enjoy that. I didn't know if I enjoyed it for other people. But I am toying with working with a really good friend who has her own company to kind of like learn a little bit more of that side of it. Yeah. So that's cool. Something that I'm looking to do in the off season too. And I feel like it's going to bring connections to my business too. So I think that when you do things, you have to, at the end of the day, if you're looking to keep your business, I think anything that you do, and what I've learned is you want it to come back to your business.
Elevate your photography business with Narrative Select. Focus more on creating and less on repetitive tasks like checking eyes, focus, or matching skin color tones. Say goodbye to slow software, load raw files in seconds, review images instantly, and export your selections to Lightroom in style with just one click. Call your photo shoots twice as fast using Narrative Select. Try Narrative Select plus Edit today with 1,000 free edits with the link below.
Because you don't want your business to go on the back burner just because it's an off season, and just because you're not slamming weddings every weekend and things like that. Like you still want, so with the social media marketing business that I am looking to do with one of my friends, I'm just doing it like under her name. Like I'm not doing anything, but in turn, it's going to help me learn more about my social media for my business.
True.
And it could possibly dabble into like me doing social media for small businesses, which is
true.
What I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Cool.
You never know where things are going to take you. But I also want to talk about like the business burnout side, because I feel like the end of busy season is when you like, and it's funny I say this because I feel like I'm not in it this year. Excuse me, which I'm not going to answer for you, but I feel like you're not really in it. It seems like the positivity is still there for both of us.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know last year at this time, I was like, I am so effing done. I can't wait for off season. I'm so ready.
Yeah.
And I think like that's probably why I had such a hard off season, because I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
And I think it was because last year I was doing all of the events by myself. Every single event I worked, every single event I did.
That's a good point.
Because I didn't have the 2 trailers.
That's
like
a good
this was
point.
my first season with both trailers.
Right.
So like I felt like I was, and I didn't have a team that I could like really, really count on. Like I had a team and they were amazing. It's still the same girls, but like they weren't working every single weekend with me.
Right.
Learning and training and getting more experience. So I think this year there was so much less weight on my shoulders because I was able to like confide in them and have them help me.
Wow. I kind of did the same thing now that you're saying that out loud. It's like resonating with me more than I thought. I, in past years, would just kind of ask people willy-nilly to second shoot for me. And then this past season, so the 2024 wedding season, I had the same second shooters for every wedding, the same like handful of like 5 girls or so, 5 to 10 girls and 1 guy. And now that season of reflection, now that we're at the end and we can reflect, I think that made a really big or bigger impact than I thought it did, than I realized that it did. I think you're right. Just walking into a wedding and like seeing the same faces and being like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like that took a lot of pressure off, I think.
Yeah, and like knowing that they got this.
Yeah.
And like knowing
you're
that
confident in them. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. And I felt like last time, like 2 seasons ago, if one of my girls was doing an event by themselves, I was like texting them, is everything okay? Like, do you need anything? Are you good?
Yeah.
And like they're not answering because they're working and like they're not on their phone doing their job properly.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, like, is everything okay? They're not responding.
Yeah.
And like now, like I'll probably text them once, like after I know that like cocktail hour is done, just to be like, hey, you guys good? Like, you know, but I know that they're going to call me if they need something. So I don't even have to text them. I just do it because I'm crazy.
It's good to check in, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is good to check in.
Sometimes I feel like, am I like bothering them? Like, are they like,
I think one little text message isn't a bother.
But coming into this year, like I have no burnout feeling
really?
At all. No, like none. Like
I'm tired, but I'm not burnt out. I feel pretty good, but I'm tired. Like I'm ready for the off season because I'm ready to just, work on the things that have been slacking. Like I'm ready to, refresh the website, add new photos to it, like really take a hard look at my Instagram, like things like that. But I'm not like itching to be out, Yeah. I'm like still loving what I'm shooting and still like loving the galleries that I'm pumping out. So everything is good. And another thing is like setting yourself up for the off season, like you were saying, but not just like financially and logistically, but like mental health wise. Like I've been reading, I've been, watching my comfort TV shows. I've been working at night, which was something that like I set a boundary on a couple of years ago, that I was like, I'm only going to work like 9 to 5 because that's like what you're supposed to do. And then, last season and talking with you a lot was like, why am I doing that to myself? Like I don't need to do that. And last year I had like a horrible transition into the off season. Like I was working like 6 a.m. to past midnight, like just doing galleries like all day, every day, because I would like check out before. So in like September, I would, edit the day away, and then at 5 I would stop, even though there was, stuff still on my plate, and it just piled up to the point where like I couldn't enjoy Thanksgiving. Like I couldn't enjoy the holiday season at all because I had to be at my computer to get things out on time. And so this year, to combat that a little bit, I've been working like a couple nights a week. And so that's like really long days. Like I wake up, and start editing right away, and I don't have kids to get to school. I don't have, anything else going on. Like I'm literally at my computer all day long, and I still then would work at night too. But it's been really great. Like I did that yesterday. I worked all day. Talia came over too and helped me edit and get some client USB stuff prepared, which is great because then I could keep editing. So that's been also like a great thing that I implemented this year, was having Talia come, because then she can handle a lot of the things that keep me busy and keep me away from editing. And I got to do like 2 things at one time. Like it's so great to be able to multitask like that. So I'm really glad that I did that. And I don't know where I was going with this. Just that then I had a shoot And I came home and I did the sneak peeks from the shoot last night before I went to bed. Just like have it be done. So yeah, just getting things out of the way like that, and then, you know, waking up in the morning and reading a chapter of my book. I've been taking a lot of baths because it's been like cold and I want to be cozy, and I'll like, you know, put in a bath bomb and read my book and then go to bed, you know. So I think like those little things. I've been doing my nails like once a month.
Yeah.
Cause it's like 30 minutes out of the day, you know? So, yeah, the little things, little self-care things that like I didn't do at all last year.
And you got your hair did.
Yeah. And I dyed my hair, you know, like I've been primping myself and treating myself a little bit and patting myself because I am doing a good job and I am working late, and I did do a 10-hour day yesterday, you know, and I'm, you know, that's good job. And we can chill on the podcast and I can have a nice weekend, and you know what I mean? So
that just made me think, like, lately I have been like, I'm not as busy. Like we have our last wedding this weekend, which is not with the trailer. It's just like at a venue and we're using their bar. And so, you know, it's still crazy and busy. And I had an event last night. So I'm still like doing stuff, but I'm getting a lot more done around my house right now. So like I've been like picking and usually I do this in January because that's like new year, new me, all the things. Yeah. But I feel like I'm going into, I listened to a podcast and they were talking about like ending the year on a high versus starting, you know, but I feel like if I can like clean the clutter in my home and just like clean out the bag at one of my friends came over and she helped me like organize the kids' toy room because I was just like, I am to the point where I am going to take all of their shit and put it somewhere. And that would be a really mean thing to do to my kids. But I was just like, I was having anxiety looking at the anxiety mess that was in their toy room. Yeah. So she came over, helped me organize everything. And then we went to my office, which is like across the way in my house. And she was like, all right, let's tackle this. And I was like, okay. And so we tackled that. And then I went crazy and cleared out my entire attic. And it took me 5 days. And I'm totally getting off topic, but where I'm coming back around with this is,
I think this is good.
I felt so much better and like lighter. Like I joked, I was like, I feel like I just lost 20 pounds of my house. Reality, I lost like 500 pounds of my house because I'd had 5 dump runs. I don't even know how, in the truck. Like I have a truck. Like the dump runs were in the truck full of just like stuff. Yeah. Like we lived in our house we're going on 8 years, and I don't know how it all accumulated that quickly. Like it's crazy. And it was like shit that I put up in the attic, didn't even know I had. I'm like, okay, I haven't used this for 5 years. It's going to the Goodwill or to the dump, one or the other. And I just feel like I got into this mindset of like cleaning everything out and like just feeling refreshed as the year comes to an end, so that I can start the year on a high and on an exciting, you know, point. But that goes back to also something that I wanted to talk about today is I booked a conference with I don't know if I told you this. I was like teetering. So my mobile bar coach hosts a conference, and she hasn't done it. I don't think she did it last year, but it's in Puerto Rico. Yes.
Whoa.
And it's 3 days in January, and I wasn't going to do it. And I told myself, if I book this corporate event, which was like a last minute booking that I was not expecting and didn't like, you know, budget for and didn't know it was coming in. And I was like, if I book this event, I am going on this trip. And I booked the event.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, well, I guess I'm going on the trip now.
Cool.
And it was like a reward to myself because last year I went on a manifestation retreat. And it was my first retreat that I ever did. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it truly like set me up for so much success for the year because I was in a good mindset. Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it again.
Yes.
So I'm going and I'm super excited.
Oh, I love that.
And it's with all other mobile bars, which I've never been in a room with other mobile bars before. Like I've been on Zoom calls and stuff, but like never in person. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I feel like if you can figure out a way to start your year off right, like do it.
End the year off right.
End the year off
Both.
right. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Why can't it be right every day?
I know. I'm ending the year off right, which I'm super excited about because I'm cleaning my entire life out.
But I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think having like a clean space, clean environment gives you a clean mind. Like, yes. I not that you guys really know this, and I don't think you saw this room before, but like I live with my parents, like I said, and my whole entire life is in one room, and I am running this business too, and my equipment takes up a crap ton of space. And anyway, so just everything was like explosive, because we also moved not too long ago. We moved around the same time that I started my business, and so I was in the mindset that like, oh, I'm probably gonna move out, like I'm probably not even gonna like live here very much, and ended up, you know, now we're saving money and probably gonna buy a house instead of like rent or do something. So that's like the holdup. But anyway, I was in the mindset that like, oh, I'm not gonna even move in because I'm not even going to move in. So that's the mindset that I was in. And I didn't set anything up. Like I didn't have a space that I liked and enjoyed being in. And I think that like took such a big toll on my mental health and then in turn my business, because I was, you know, editing from my room, but I was editing from a room that I didn't feel creative in, that I didn't feel inspired in, that I didn't like being in. And so I didn't really like my work because I didn't feel good while I was working. And I think that made a really big impact. And then last off season, so this past winter, I did what you're describing. Like I shoved everything out of the room. Yep. I said, we're starting over. Yep. I put in this cute rug, got a standing desk, got some cute chairs, and just, you know, was like, enough is enough. Like, I don't know when I'm leaving yet. Now I do, but still there's like a year and a half left of me to be in this space and to be creative, and I need to show up for my clients. And if I know that being in a space that I like is going to make me do better work, they deserve that. And so, I don't know. I think tangent on cleaning the house, but I think that does give you like a clean mind. And I don't think you have to wait for things like that for the off season. Yeah. Like that was the mindset that I was into, that I was like, oh no, I have time later. Oh, I can get my nails done later. I can do my hair later. But it's like, I'm going to feel better about myself, like showing up at a shoot, you know, in appearance that I like, and, you know, like presenting myself and my business to the world in a way that I feel confident in. Yeah. And if I feel more comfortable and confident, then like, why do I have to wait for the off season to be that way? Yeah. Like I could just be like that all the time.
It's so funny. This is totally like bringing back. So when I did clean my kids' toy room, they always say that you're supposed to like change kids' toys every 6 months because they get bored. They get, you know, I don't want to play with the same thing all the time. Yeah. And I cleaned their toy room. They didn't even get new toys because we're like preparing for Christmas. I'm like, oh my God, all the SHIT that they're going to get. But I'm like, I just moved their things around. Like they have like a play kitchen. I put it on the other side of the room. They have like a sitting chair where they can like read, like a book nook that I like set up this cute little book nook area. Gia has a big dollhouse in her room. So in that room, so I like moved it somewhere else. They have played in that toy room by themselves peacefully for an entire week because I just did it last weekend. And I'm like, it's the same toys. They just were so cluttered and couldn't find the pieces and couldn't find this. So as I made a nice space for them, they're now playing with it kindly and nice. And they every morning they come downstairs.
It feels new.
It feels new to them, even though it's not. And that goes back to like, we forget that like, we're just big kids. Like we're adults, but literally, like realistically, we're just big kids.
It's just psychology.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like if you give yourself a new space and just by rearranging, you feel like a new person and you're going to feel better. You're going to want to work better. You're going to want to do better things.
Literally, I bought this chair and like my life changed. I was like, oh my gosh, now I have a cute chair to read in. And it like motivated me to read. Like that's so stupid.
No, but it's true.
Yes. It was like the best $100 investment of my life this year. I was like, oh my gosh, cute chair. I can finally read.
See,
what?
You got to spend money to make money. So you spend money, and it's
money
so
is
true. It's true. But it honestly, like I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, what can I go change in my house again? Yeah. But like I haven't changed my bedroom up yet. I think that's my next step. And one of my girlfriends right now is redoing, like she painted her walls. Like she is redoing her room. And she's like, the one who came over and helped me, she's like, you are motivating me to do it for myself now because like I don't know if she like saw the excitement in my eyes or like because she helped me with everything or like if she just was like, all right, now I'm getting the urge because I saw like what it did for your house.
Right.
Now I want to do it. So like very long-winded conversation. Like go purge your house, go get the shit that like you walk by every day and you're like, I don't touch this. Why is it here? Get rid of it. Or not even get rid of it. Like when I tell you we organized my desk, which was literally just like a mound of shit with a mound of shit next to it.
Yeah.
We organized it all and like it all had a home.
Yeah.
But I wasn't putting it in a home.
Yeah.
I was just throwing it on my desk.
Yeah. These bins right here, audio listeners, we're sitting at my desk and I have a shelf above my desk with these like little wicker baskets. Those are my junk drawers. There's like nothing but crap in there. But because it's enclosed,
organized crap.
Yeah, because it's enclosed and it's out of sight, out of mind. Yep. Like when you came over, I was like tidying up a little bit, you know. I had stuff on my desk. I had stuff over there because I know you like to put your coffee there. And I was like, I just have to put this stuff away.
Best.
And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't need this. I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, oh yeah, I have a junk drawer.
I love that for you.
But like, it makes such a big difference that like I need places to hide things. And then when I'm in like a good headspace that's like, okay, I need to clear out, then I can open up that little basket and, you know, take this to Goodwill, throw this in the trash, put this where it's supposed to go. Cause it actually does have a home, you know? So it, that's a big hack. My friend Jen is the one that helped me. And she was like, what, like she was really good and she does like home organization. She does kids toy rooms. Yeah. And other things too. But she was like, what makes sense for you to be able to put this back? And I was like, ooh, that is good. So she was like, okay, like where is an easy everyday drawer for you where you can like put things that you use every single day? And I was like, ooh, vintage horse. Like here's the vintage horse drawer that I use every day. Where is something like the kids' schoolwork, for example, like that's a basket that we have to touch every day. She put it in an area where like I take it out, the kids do their work and I put it back. That's nice.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Whereas like previously they were putting it wherever they wanted to put it because I didn't give them a direction of a home for it. We were getting frustrated because I couldn't find what I needed. It was spiraling to then them getting frustrated, not wanting to do their schoolwork. There was like a whole series that happened because the work didn't have a home. And it's just like, you don't think about easy things like that. So we are like so off crazy topic, but I feel like it makes sense with what we're talking about because we're giving you the advice to like, yes, start the year fresh, but end the year fresh too.
Put in good habits. That's a huge part. I think in setting yourself up for success in the off season because it's such a crazy time of year to be like, go, 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 go. And having these habits of like putting things away and making your bed every day, like it will make you feel better and then feel like your life didn't totally change when you go into the off season being like, oh, I don't have a routine anymore. I don't have anywhere to go. But like you can still do the, you know, some of the things that you were doing before. It like tricks my mind a little bit into being like, okay, there is a routine, you know?
It's so funny you're saying this because it's making me think like, I think I am having such a better off season right now and not burnout because I'm distracting myself with other things. Like that just clicked. So like instead of me being like, oh, I'm going into an off season where I'm not going to be busy doing things, I'm making myself busy in ways that I've been wanting to do but didn't have the time to do it. And I feel like last year what I did was just like go into this spiral of like, oh my God, I'm not going to have events. I'm not going to have an income. I'm not doing this. I'm not like, I set myself up for a different mindset this year of like, it's okay. You know that this is the season you're coming into. Mm-hmm. So like if you're just starting your business, if this is going to be your first off season or your slower season, because I think a lot of our entrepreneurs are in the same boat. Like I was talking to even someone last night who's she does like lifestyle photography. So she'll do like in-home things, she'll do food content, and she'll do like business portraits or whatever. And I asked her, I was like, well, she doesn't do weddings. So I was like, well, you don't really have like a wedding season. So like, do you have an off season? She's like, oh yeah, January and February like are so slow. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I feel like January, February, the entire world is just like, I don't want to do anything right now.
Yeah.
I like mentally it's cold, at least by us.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe in Florida you're rocking and rolling in January.
Well,
but
I think it also just is the calendar, because I think people are probably sad that like the holidays are over. They've been able to spend so much time with family in the past couple of months, and then all of a sudden it's like back to normal. I think it is like a mindset thing.
Yeah, but I love that I mean it took 3 years, so just know that it
Gets better and better.
It gets better and better. Are you looking to up your client experience? HoneyBook is a leading client management tool for accepting inquiries, sending invoicing contracts, and keeping all your emails in an easy and safe space. Check out their amazing tools like the expense tracker, batch email sender, and email templates to get messages to clients with ease. Make your business run faster and more efficiently with HoneyBook. Use the link in the description for 25% off your first year. That's a 1-week free trial and 25% off your first year of HoneyBook with the link below.
Gets better and better if you do. If you figure it out, if you reflect, if you don't, if you try harder and like just be smart about it. I think we're very introspective people, and like we think about what we can do better. We think about, oh, we're not doing so good right now. How can we fix it? Like that's the kind of people that at least I think that we are. Like we're journalers. But I think if there were people that maybe don't have that same kind of attitude and think, I don't really know where I'm going with that. Do you kind of get what I'm saying though? That's like a woe is me kind of attitude that like it might not get easier and easier. But
so yeah, it's
gotta
funny
put in the
because
work.
This topic kind of stemmed from someone that I met with recently, and she's going through a really hard season right now where she is figuring out what's working, what's not working for her business, but she's figuring it out while she's still working her business. So it's like really hard for her to come out of this like hole that she's in. And I feel like I relate with her so much because starting like end of August, early September, which was going into my busiest season of my of my year, I was having all these personal issues that were coming up of like full transparency, like my daughter going to kindergarten, which I was like, her birthday's in December. Was she ready? All these things. And then we found out that my son was diagnosed with ADHD, which spiraled me in like so many different ways. But I was not wanting to work my business. I did not want to even like touch my computer. I would literally walk by my desk every day and being like, there's a computer there, but I'm not going to open it.
Yeah. And
I was just responding to clients when I had to because their event was in a week and they're like, hey, like we need final details. Like, haven't heard from you, but like
bare minimum.
The full bare minimum. And I didn't realize that it was my personal life that was affecting my business life. I just thought like, what's happening? And I wanted to nap all the freaking time. And I am not a napper. Like I just like, I didn't even want to get up in the morning because I was just like up another day of like me not knowing why I'm feeling this way. And one of my good friends is in that season right now. And I was trying to like explain to her that I know what she's going through, but nobody can explain it to you when you're going through it. Like nobody can give you the advice that you want to hear because you're not in the right mindset of hearing anything at that time.
Yeah.
You have to do the inner work yourself. And I don't even know what snapped me out of it. I think it was that like we got the diagnosis of my son and like it was almost like, okay, like now I know what's happening and I can move on from there. We sent my daughter to kindergarten. I'm giving a lot of like juicy personal life stuff this episode. But we're actually thinking about pulling her out of kindergarten and restarting her next year, which is fine. It's probably happening. She's fine with it. A lot of kids. Yeah. Yeah, she's fine with it. I didn't want her to go the full year and do a kindergarten over and like make all her full friends. So I'm glad that we're like making the decision right now if we do make it. So I feel like the light is coming at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
But I've also just like, I've leaned more into my coaching program. I was like not doing any of my coaching program either. And I'm like, Jen, you paid all this money for this program and you're not even doing the work that you need to do.
Yeah.
And I just started doing a lot more like, I'm not journaling, but I'm like listening to more of my motivational podcasts that you know that I love. And like, I just got back into my thing. But as I told my friend, I'm like, it's okay to have that season as long as you get out of it.
Yeah.
Like you can have your boohoo moments. Like I had boohoo moments. I literally turned on the saddest country music that I ever could listen to about like your kids growing up, and realized that all of this baggage that I was holding was because my kids are having not issues. It wasn't even issues, just challenges at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to deal with it as a parent. So it was spiraling into everything else in my life. And I listened to like the saddest country music, bawled my freaking eyes out in my car by myself, like pulled over at like a park in Trumbull, my town that I live in, and just like let the waters flow. But they say like that gives you like a dopamine that you need at certain times.
Need to do that, yeah.
And I freaking needed it. And I was going to meet one of my friends to co-work at Starbucks. And I walked in and I had to look a hot fucking mess because I was just bawling my eyes out. And like, I didn't say anything at first. And I was like, I just cried in my car for 5 minutes. She's like, she's such a trooper. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want to talk about it? I was like, not yet. She's like, okay. And we just started working. But like, and then I ended up talking to her about it. But like, I just needed that moment for myself. So go have a good cry. Sometimes your body needs it. Your mind needs it. And it's okay to cry. It's okay. Because I'm not a crier either. Like I know you cry at weddings and stuff. And like sometimes
I'm a crier.
But I'm not a crier at all.
Yeah.
So like
I'm a Cancer, so.
I love that. I'm a Gemini. So I'm like, let's go. Figure it out. Put your big girl pants on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the point I was getting at is it's okay to be in a season where you're having a really hard time right now, but it's not okay to stay in that season for a while because you have to figure out a way to get out of it. And I don't know, maybe cleaning my entire house was my way of getting out of it because I was like clearing the baggage, clearing, you know, maybe it was that. So highly recommend purging your life if you can. But yeah, but it also took me talking to other people and knowing that I wasn't alone in a lot of situations. And now I'm like part of, also, I don't know if I recommend this because it's a lot, but you know, when you like become a bride, and I know, you guys just talked about this on the last episode, like you start joining all these Facebook groups with like other brides.
Oh yeah.
So I started joining a Facebook group about like kids with ADHD, and I'm like, oh my God, it's great to know that there's so many other people who are going through what I'm going through.
Yeah.
It's also a lot to unfold when you start reading like the comments and this and that. So take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. But I think it's okay to know that you're not alone in the situations.
Yeah.
That was a lot to unpack.
Yeah. What else you got?
What else is on my list today?
No, it's a big, heavy topic, but there are things that need to be said. And I think part of it is keeping it bottled up and like not talking to people about it. Like if you cried in your car and didn't say anything about it and, you know, just pretended that it didn't happen, like you're not going to grow from that. You're not going to learn from that. You have to think about, okay, wait, why am I sobbing my eyes out right now? Or if it comes on suddenly, or, you know, or say like, well, why did I just have such an extreme reaction to that? Like, oh, I must have really needed it. I don't know. I think thinking or being aware of those things and figuring out why you're feeling that way, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've also learned too,
therapy's good. In
that season that I was in, like going with your gut is so important because I'm learning more about like your inner voice and your inner. So my mobile bar coaches, because now there's two of them, and they started this new thing called like your inner villain. They have a new podcast. It's called Crowns and Chaos, and it's awesome. And it's not solely to mobile bars. Like it's more everything else. And they talk about like your inner voice is like your inner villain, or it's your good villain. And like there's a lot of things that they like talk about. And it just kind of like made me realize that like that little voice in my head is telling you something for a reason.
Yeah.
And I just used to like shake it off. But that inner voice was the one that told me to start my business. And that inner voice was one that told me I had to leave my corporate job in order to make this business successful. And that inner voice was the one that told me that maybe there was something deeper that my son was struggling with in school. And we found out. And like, it's like, you have to like listen to it sometimes and see where it takes you, kind of thing. But it's hard because you're like, you don't know what it means. You don't know why you're feeling certain ways. And it is like your inner, I don't know if you believe in like God or the universe or what, but like, I'm just a firm believer that things happen for a reason. And like, you really have to go with your gut instinct on things.
Yeah.
because what's the worst that could happen? Like,
Yeah.
starting this business, what was the worst that can happen? I go back to hospitality.
Yeah. Why not try?
Why not try, see if it works out? Ended up working out very gracefully in my favor.
Yeah.
But like, if you didn't start photography, you would start something else.
Yeah.
Like, you would go back, whatever. So I feel like, I don't know, what one of my other friends is going through like her season right now where she just got off maternity leave. And I just talked about it recently because her being on maternity leave, we bonded in such a different way because I was home, she was home. We got to like just experience each other in a different way. And she's been sending me like all these like reels about like how I helped her get through her postpartum time. And I'm just like so grateful for her. But she went back to work and like she goes in the office 3 days a week, 3 days a week. And she's having a hard time with it. She put a 9-week, no, how old is it? I think he's 11 weeks in daycare. And she's having a really hard time with that. So it's like, I'm so grateful that I had this experience, but I know that not everyone gets to experience this. And it's hard. It's really hard. But going back to going with your gut, I am a firm believer of that. So if your gut is telling you to purge your house, go purge your house. If your gut is telling you to,
listen to sad country music and cry.
Yes. Oh my God.
you need
Blast it. I'm telling you, that country music gets me every time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's brutal.
I feel like we all have a playlist that's like, I need to cry, and these are the songs. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I think that was like all I really had on like my notes.
Okay.
But I like one of the notes I put, it was like, if you're in a season of figuring it out right now, like that is a huge season where I just know like I went through that and I didn't know what that season was for me and what it meant. And when I say like figuring it out, it was, once I got my second trailer, I was in a stage of like, what's next for me? And I think that's where like I was in my lowest too, because I'm like, I don't want a third trailer. I don't know what I want to do next with this business. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I felt like my creativity was capped for where I needed it to be, but I'm just like putting it into other areas now. And I feel like I want one more season of the business running where my goal was to have the girls work all of the events. I'm not there yet. So like, that's what I need my next season to be.
Right.
So I feel like if you're in a season of like, you're figuring like with what one of my friends is going through is I don't want to like say what she does because I don't want to give her name away, but basically she's in a season where she was so busy and so crazy and started another business in addition to what she was doing. And she's having a really hard time because she couldn't focus on that second business because she was so busy with her first. But she learned so many lessons in her first business that she's like, I'm not going to do that next year. But she's having a hard time because she was making little mistakes because she was so freaking crazy busy. And she was just making errors that she probably wouldn't have made if she didn't commit to too much.
Yeah.
But that's what, and I related it to what you went through the season where you were so backlogged on your editing queue, and you learned for the next year what makes sense for what you to take in business wise.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I was like, I know how that feels because I remember what Meghan went through when she was going through that season of like this. I couldn't enjoy Thanksgiving.
Took on too much.
You took on too much.
And didn't. A lot of it was just like my time management too, which I feel like is a cop-out answer, but
no, but like, she
but
didn't
it was.
realize like she travels for work too, so she didn't realize like all the things that were going to come with travel too. In addition, like when you travel, you just want to be home after and like do nothing.
Yeah.
But like that was in her mind probably the time that she was going to start working on the things that she needed to work on after her events.
Right.
But she was just like, I went into a spiral of like, I have so much and I have so been there. I have so much to do, so I'm just not going to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone knows how that is.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I felt for her the overwhelm because that's how I felt when I was overwhelmed with my personal life. So I wasn't doing anything for business because I was just shutting down fully. And I know that so many people go through that where you're like, my to-do list is so big, I don't even know where to start. And I also can relate that to cleaning my house.
Yeah, if your space is overwhelming, like of course your mind will be too.
And like with my son being diagnosed, I have learned so much of my ADHD that I didn't know that I had. And I fully have some form of it. I don't know what it is, but like cleaning my home was so hard. Not cleaning my home. My home is not messy. Like I don't want people to think I'm like a hoarder.
No.
But like organizing my home
Yeah.
and having a clearer space was really hard because I would start one project, and this was when my friend wasn't with me, like being like, okay, focus, stay in this one area. So I would clean, let's just say my desk area, and then I would be like, oh, gotta go do the laundry. And then I was in my kitchen and I would be like, oh wait, the dishes are still dirty. I gotta put them in the dishwasher. And then I would be like, oh wait, I need a snack.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh wait, I didn't do this. And I would not go back to the one thing I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I felt like I would shut down because then I would see 5 other areas that I needed to clean. And I was like, oh my God, this is overwhelming.
And then you're
now.
thinking, oh, I can't even get one done. I'm not good enough because you're only doing like the littlest parts because you get sidetracked. Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what my friend is going through currently with her business. She's like, I have such a big umbrella where I don't even know where to start. So I'm just not going to do it. And this is like advice that I would give for someone because we actually did this. So we were co-working and I was like, all right, you have 20 minutes. Give yourself 20 minutes. Get 2 things off of your to-do list. And she did it. And she was like, I feel really good. But that's what that's what my friend does to me when we co-work, because I spiral and I'm like, I have 20 tabs open in my computer. I have 30 tabs open in my brain. And then my phone's here and someone sends me a text message and then I go on social media and start scrolling and I know that I'm resonating with someone in this conversation.
Probably everybody.
So it's really hard to focus at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, even on this podcast, we like spiral into so many different conversations, but you reel me back in sometimes too. But anyway, the point of that is like, give yourself 20-minute blocks. That's what's been working for me. And this is what my coach like kind of trained me on. We do every Monday, we have it's called Get Your Shit Done meeting. And it used to be a meeting where we sit on Zoom, all the mobile bars are in the coaching program, and we would like ask questions and they would answer and whatever. And she changed the meeting because it wasn't really working. And I love that she like realizes that things aren't working and changes them. So it went into a Get Your Shit Together meeting, Get Your Shit Done meeting, where you are just like word vomiting all the things that you have to do for the week. And then you're coding them by like what days you could do those specific assignments.
Okay.
And then if you really want to get like time blocking when you're going to do those assignments. So I've been good about writing all the shit that I got to get done, kind of putting it on the days I think I want to do it and feeling accomplished because I'm like doing those things on those days. So it's, I guess it's called time blocking, time management, time something.
Yeah.
But that's working for me right now.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to work forever because you know that I'm not good with like things like that, but it's working right now.
Yeah.
So like if you're struggling with your to-do list, give yourself 20 minutes, write down your to-do list, take a break, go back, give yourself 20 more minutes and get 2 things done off of that list.
I like that.
I think you would be really surprised. And I think my friend was really surprised that like she could get those things done. Like she literally got them done in like 5 minutes.
Way faster than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just finished. I'm like, what? I gave you 20 minutes, girl. So it's like, I think you just have to like sit down and do it.
Isn't that crazy? Also, because like Talia, who I keep mentioning, she was on the podcast last week or 2 weeks ago. When she comes over to help me edit, like I feel like I'm working so much faster, and not just because she's also working, but just because I have somebody that's like holding me accountable. That's like, okay, I'm sitting here, like no funny business, you know. And I think you said the same, or I was talking to somebody about like co-working or like going out to a coffee shop to work and how that holds you accountable because you feel like everybody's watching you, because you feel like you have to work. You can't pick up your phone. And so sometimes when I am in a funk and I'm like not getting enough done and I'm like, what is going on? Like every 5 seconds I get distracted with something and I feel like I just can't. My trick is like going to a coffee shop and bringing my phone, bringing my computer, but you know, flipping my phone upside down and like I can't see it and I'm turning off the Wi-Fi on it and like I'm not checking it, putting it on do not disturb, whatever. That's been my trick. But I like the 20-minute thing, being like, these are the 2 things I have to do in 20 minutes, done.
Yeah. And it can be something so simple. Like one of the things I'm doing currently is posting in Facebook groups. So I give myself 20 minutes and all I'm doing in that 20 minutes is posting on Facebook groups. Like, obviously for my business. But
I like that.
That's my marketing because I know that works for me. You know, another is getting proposals. So in that 20 minutes, I have to get out my proposals that I need for that time. So I feel like it's created like my crazy to-do list into like categories of things that makes me feel better, that I know that I can get this done in 20 minutes. And then the reward is you get a break. You can go get a coffee, you can do whatever in that break, and then get back to 20 more minutes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So I think that's all we have for today. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Not really. I think this was a
last wedding this weekend.
Next weekend. Yeah.
Next
Day
weekend,
after Thanksgiving is my last week. And then I'm second shooting in December. That's like my last wedding, but it's not for my business. So I'm not really counting it. But, yeah, my last wedding is next week. I had my last like big wedding, big bridal party, you know, typical traditional wedding at the first weekend of November or second weekend of November. And yeah, we're just like kind of starting to fizzle out, and it's sad.
I know.
It's sad, but I am looking forward to not having somewhere that I have to be. I'm looking forward to working on the things that I've been pushing off that, you know, didn't have deadlines. Like I have a blog, but there's nothing on it. Like I need to get on that, you know, things like that. I'm excited.
I think you just like reminded me of like, I am actually excited for this off season because last week I didn't have any events. Well, I had the minis on Sunday, but I didn't have an event on Saturday, and I felt I didn't know what to do with myself in a good way. Like usually I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. I spiral, but like it was actually in a good way. I don't know if it's going to last very long, but I still have something almost no, I don't have anything next weekend. Our last wedding is this weekend. And oh my God, the bride is so cute. She's adorable. Just to end this with this, because this is like a good thing.
Okay.
I was able to get out of my funk, all of that. I got all of her stuff like really early on, like the normal way of how I run my business.
Okay.
I felt like Jen was back.
Okay.
And we text, her and I, because I don't text with a lot of my clients, but some of them, like I'll give my number closer to the wedding, but like we just had to text about something like very previously. So she had my number. So we were texting about something. And she was like, I just have to tell you, this experience with you has just been so amazing.
Aww.
And you've just been so on top of things.
Aww.
And coming out of where I just was, to hear that was like, yes. Like, I got this. It's like that motivation that you need.
Yeah.
So I think like that's also like such a great feeling when a client tells you you're doing a good job.
Aww.
And we haven't even had the wedding yet. So
Yeah.
like usually they don't say anything till like after or whatever. So like for her to say that was just like so rewarding.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that one. So that'll be our last one to end
so
our
exciting.
season. And yeah, and then we have a corporate event next week. And then we have some other things in November, which I'm super excited about. And then we're starting to get a few holiday parties. So my goal is 6.
Woo-hoo.
I have, I believe, 3 already.
Halfway.
Yeah. So we're halfway
It's
there.
not even December.
It's not even December. And
There you go.
like I was talking to someone and they were like, half the time corporate like don't even think about it's like Thanksgiving. They're like, oh, holiday party. And we're like, it's December.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving is really late this year.
Yeah.
It's like the last weekend and then it's literally December, like the following week. We're going to Massachusetts for Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. We're staying at this really cute hotel that we stay at every single year. My father-in-law lives in Bourne, which is like right over the Cape Cod Cape Cod line.
Okay.
And the hotel is like 15 minutes from his house. It's right on the water. So
Nice.
I'm praying we get some good weather. So yeah, we'll be with his side of the family. And then, yeah, we're here for Christmas this year. We alternate every year, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So last year we were in Massachusetts for Christmas.
Gotcha.
That was really freaking hard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Anyways,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm excited
Well,
too.
this is a great episode.
Yeah.
I had fun chatting. So
Yeah.
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Cheers.